Hello there, good evening and welcome. This is Money and the Economy, and I am Abdul Fattah Otori, your host. Now listen to this. We would like to reiterate the NCD's advice for avoiding coronavirus and other respiratory diseases. Sneeze and cough into tissues or the crook of your elbow. If you get muco or spit on your skin, clean it off immediately. Avoid touching your face with unwashed hands. Avoid close contact with sick people, especially people exhibiting respiratory symptoms and fever. Stay home when you're sick. Regularly and thoroughly clean surfaces such as countertops and doorknobs with a disinfectant. Wear your face mask especially if you're sick or caring for the sick. Together, we can halt the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Now, the impact of COVID-19 on the global economy, to say the least, is devastating. Businesses are shut down with the exception of those rendering very essential services. Virtually every sector of the global economy has come under the overwhelming burden of the COVID-19 pandemic. It has directly affected multiple global companies, precipitated layoffs and shakeups, and forced many other companies to a complete shutdown. Oil, Nigeria's economic mainstay, has fallen to a ridiculous rate, forcing the government, like in many other countries, to review the budget. The lockdown and the ban on interstate as well as air travel are causing many small businesses to face extinction. While criticism of this measure has been mounting, it is important to let you understand that government has the responsibility to grow the economy and at the same time ensure that her citizenry are not destroyed by a merciless killer as coronavirus. There lies the wisdom of the lockdown in the country. Now, to balance the scale of the two sides, the fiscal and monetary authorities came up with a number of measures. On the program tonight, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, will be telling you what the Apex Bank is doing to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 and grow the economy of the nation. We'll seek analyst views on what the CBN is doing, and Harriet Parkinson, as always, is here to give us report on the activities of the business and financial sector for the week. Stay with us.
Baba Esike, I don't understand you, sef. Night don't they come, and your friend never still return your 200,000, and you just sit on here, jeje.
Oh, nah, Baba Bola, you dey talk. But he don't pay me now.
He don't pay you? When? Not be me and you dey here since morning. Baba Bola, I no see.
That now because he don't do instant fund transfer to my account. That's not the cashless way.
But I never see the money now.
Bam! You don't get them. To go cashless means we no go to carry cash again. Now, you fit use other better ways like POS machine, ATM, internet banking, and even phone to the carry and to the move money. See my phone. My bank don't already send me message say money don't enter my account.
Hey! To go cashless na the way now.
This message is brought to you by the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Even happening here, Now who be this person? We tie him head with cloth. We feel this 20 people to sew agbada. I cannot even be able to ask him who him be. Social distance. If I touch him now, let me even knock for President door.
Who is there? Please stay outside though. Don't come in at all. Show me. I will come out now to see everybody. Ejo, Edron Tabe.
No wonder this man, him waiting outside. But who be this man? Also, where they waiting for him now?
Gentlemen, you are all welcome. As you can see, because of the prevailing situation in the world, no thanks to coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, you see, we are all advised to observe social distancing. That is why you are not allowed to come into my office. Emike, I won't allow anyone to come to my office. He run you. I can't even identify anybody here. Kilon Shele. You cover your face, making it difficult for me to know who is who. Anyway, who is Malam among you?
I therefore here. Gana Hanuna Sama, see my hand for up.
Malam, I does not say you. Let me hug you now. Let me hug you.
Wallahi, I no agree. Okay, one I want to give me coronavirus make I die ko. Okay, one baka the cure wallahi.
Malamo. Ogini kwano.
Okay, da Allah make I no calling me anything da Allah. Wallahi, I be bad person.
You should have known that the policy of the social distancing abhors handshaking, hugging, and kissing. At least for now. Oh, Fimalam sile now.
I don't make kissing Malam. Well, I does not know, sir.
Okay. Whatever it is. Malam, tell me what brought you here. Shongo, I'm listening.
To I wallahi my suya business I don't die finish since this one coronavirus and I come. People I know they agree I come buy suya again.
Oh my God. Your business have been affected by COVID-19 pandemic, Abi, Malam.
Prince Ade, wallahi ba pandemic bane. Me da pandemic kuma na corona na make people I know they come again.
Okay. Motibo, you, Ike, what brought you here?
Thank you very much, Prince Ade. Prince Ade, with this my two naked eyes, him don't see where. In fact, I see I dey here so, I know the sea road. Almost so some now, all of my life is I don't chop and finish what with my mouth. Okay, them don't close market. Even the people where they give small money to take enter market, they know they collect. They don't allow me because na cloth they sell. Them say cloth and accessory. They say him no be essential good. Cloth no be essential good. My business don't finish. Okay.
Okay. You can see I'm laughing. Well, first and foremost, it is not Corolla. Malam, it is not coronavirus. It is called coronavirus or COVID-19. See, let me tell you, it is a very dangerous virus. And it has a capacity to spread to millions of people within minutes and kill in the same manner. And that is why the government says we should stay at home so that we will not be infected and die like that. Okay.
But hunger, na him they talk about. Hunger, him killing us, him killing children. Business, him don't die finish. Abi Malam.
Wallahi Ike na turu I talk am. Maganan ka gaskiya ne. Akwai yunwa sosai. Hungry I dey kuma I dey worry me walwal wallahi.
Okay, no be you talk am. Say no more apuria. Na me na him na me talk am.
Okay. It is not time to argue and to quarrel. What if I say I have good news for you?
Mashallah. So the Allah make tell us the good news for that.
You see, the Oba of Olosuzu Bank has graciously, proactively, and generously set aside 50 billion naira for those of you whose small businesses have been affected by this COVID-19 pandemic.
Wait, Uzubillahi. To, kai. Atashi da Allah taimaka min. Wayo Allah. Ai kai ya so me fa. Yawa, kai.
President. President.
Yes.
Where my own share? I can't wake up from this fainting just like that. Give me my share.
Okay, cool down. See, let me tell you, Jack, it is very simple to get the loan. Just apply through your bank to NASA Microfinance with the evidence that your business has been affected by the pandemic. Then you can access the loan. No collateral, no wahala, no problem at all.
Hey, wait. Corona.
Where are you people going?
I'm coming.
I go take it for loan, man.
No, can I get?
I don't go access loan.
50B.
No matter.
The fear of COVID-19. It could be the beginning of wisdom here, I dare say. Now, you're probably really worried about the coronavirus, especially if there are confirmed cases near you. Fortunately, you can take actions to protect yourself and your family from contracting the infection. Simple things like staying home whenever possible, avoiding sick people, washing your hands often, and disinfecting high-touch surfaces can help you stay well. If you suspect you may be sick, call your doctor or your local health department immediately. Then, stay home until they tell you to seek medical care. Be hopeful and stay safe. This too will pass. Now, in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, unveiled a number of policy initiatives aimed at reducing the adverse impacts of the pandemic on the economy. Among them are the extension of the moratorium on the Apex Bank's intervention programs, interest rate reduction, creation of a 50 billion naira targeted credit facility, and credit support for the healthcare industry. The interventions also include strengthening the CBN's loans-to-deposit ratio policy and regulatory forbearance, amongst others. Now, before we bring you the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, let's visit the street to find out what the ordinary man on the street think about these interventions.
Seriously, it's a very good idea from the CBN. It's going to boost Nigeria economy. In other way, it's going to help people. A lot of them, the business have been collapsed. Now, through the help of this initiative, a lot of them will bounce back to their business, and before you know, everything will work well. People are going to be feeding well, and a lot of jobs are going to be coming up.
It's helped the poor people and the youth. It helped them a lot. I'll use myself as an example. I apply, but since they have not called me yet, it doesn't give me the opinion that I fail or I lose. But I'll still continue pressing, going on. Because if you see the condition nowadays about this lockdown of a thing, people are dying because of hunger, and some of them, they don't have job. With those things, it can help them start small things to save their family.
Some residents of Abuja are speaking on the interventions to cushion the impact of COVID-19 on the economy. Now, let's hear from the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, what the Apex Bank has been doing lately on COVID-19. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Now, to start with, what have you been up to lately as far as the pandemic is concerned?
We held 3 rounds of meetings, one with the bankers, the second with manufacturers and entrepreneurs in the health sector, pharmaceuticals and hospitals, and lastly with the larger manufacturers group.
Now, tell us, what has given rise to this?
What gave rise to this is because there is a pandemic. This pandemic was never anticipated. Nobody would have thought, if they were planning their budget for 2020 in any part of the world, no one would have thought that a pandemic of this ramification that has dealt a very serious blow on the health and economic lives of the world would happen. Unfortunately, it has happened. We are still counting the fatalities from this health crisis. And indeed, we think it will continue as we speak. 4 million people have been infected. Almost 300,000 have died. The US has the highest number. In Africa, Nigeria is running closer to countries like Egypt, Algeria, South Africa.
As a country, what does that mean to Nigeria?
As a country, we need to really work very hard. What has this pandemic cost us? Just like other countries, not only has this resulted cost health crisis, of course, there are economic crisis and recession would happen. But as leaders, we have a responsibility to see to it that we work very hard to moderate the health and economic impact of this crisis on our country and on our economy. And that is the reason we have held these meetings. We started by accusing the banks that, listen, almost about 8 weeks ago, the Central Bank of Nigeria unveiled a couple of stimulus packages, either to the health sectors, to the SME and the households, to say, look, if you are directly or indirectly impacted, take advantage, and that there are some little facilities available for you in the banking industry for you to get your business running again. Are you in the health sector? Do you want to go back into your pharmaceutical formulations? Do you want to set up hospitals again? Can we avoid a situation where instead of importing these items, indeed those countries where these items were being imported have locked their borders and say they will not allow those items to be exported from their country? So are we going to continue like this?
So what happens to us if they continued? How are we going to protect ourselves from this kind of situation, both now and in the future?
There is a need for us to put in place a facility, the health package. Health facility about 100 billion, and also for the manufacturing sector about 1 trillion naira, which companies and entrepreneurs should take advantage of to see how we can grow our industries, create jobs on our people, and reduce the adverse consequences of the health and economic crisis on our people and on our country. That's why we started. And we found out after 8 weeks that those applications are not coming as fast as we thought. And that's why we thought calling the banks is important to hear from them. And we heard from them. So we also called in some of the companies in the health sector. They have come in and they have raised issues which we are dealing with. Of course, naturally, we do know from the bankers committee, we are also resolved that there is a need for a lot of advocacy for people to know that these facilities are in place and that the banks are ready to support these initiatives. We went on to the manufacturing.
Okay, now, what would you say in a nutshell is the essence of all of this?
The essence of this is to say that Nigeria has one opportunity to reset again and to say that as we start a new journey towards development, towards economic industrialization of a country, that Nigeria should join the race. And perhaps this is a good opportunity for us to see to it that we prepare ourselves as a country in Africa, the largest economy, to get our manufacturing sectors to work, to get our banking sectors to work efficiently to support economic growth and development, so that by the time African Continental Free Trade Zone arrangement comes on stream, Nigeria will be adequately prepared. I watch on television that AfCFTA starts again January 2021. And so, what do we do as a country? And that's why we think we should galvanize the manufacturing sector, the health sector, to prepare and then get our factories back, create jobs. Let us begin to see the fumes coming out of the rooftops of the manufacturing companies so that we can be adequately prepared for the battles ahead.
Now, there are issues. Oil price cut, investors getting worried about taking out their monies. In all of this, what's your take?
Now, in all this, the health crisis of coronavirus has dealt on countries, particularly commodity-dependent countries like Nigeria. It's a bad news that crude prices have come down so badly that people are even offering discount for their oils to be picked up. So what does that mean? That whether we like it or not, revenue from crude will drop. And what does that also mean? That we don't have a choice but to diversify the base of our economy. But what does that also mean? Yes, the dollars that we used to have in ample quantity will no longer come as long as we rely on crude, that they will no longer come in the size and quantum they used to come. What does that also mean? That we need to prioritize and make sure that the dollar that is available is used to import or service obligations that are priority. What does that also mean? That we must make sure that we produce those items that can be produced in Nigeria and consume what we produce in Nigeria. Yeah, there are not much dollars and so, but let me say this. In 2015-16, we faced the same situation. And what did we do? We called a meeting of the banks, we called a meeting of the correspondent banks and development partners. We told them that there is nobody that will lose his money or her money in Nigeria. And I'm happy that we went through that without anybody losing its monies in Nigeria. We made sure those who wanted to go, that they were able to take their monies out because things turned around and were able to put in place policies that made it possible for them to take their monies out. We always like to support an orderly exit, but not an exit where everybody rushes to the door at the same time. If there's fire in this room and everybody rushes to the door at the same time, I am sure the fatalities will be more than if we all go out through the door in an orderly manner. And that's what we are appealing to everybody. If you have LC, if you have whether dollar obligation, I'm saying just be patient. There may be a delay in you taking your monies out, but will you take your money out? I'm seizing this opportunity to give 100% assurance to everybody that you will take your money out. You will not lose a cent of your money if you desire to take your money out. But we just seek the patience and understanding of everybody.
We must thank you very much, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, for spending time with us on the program.
Thank you.
This is Money and Economy on your radio.
Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, telling you to go and seek loan if your small business is affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, I'm being joined via the telephone from Lagos by a financial and economic analyst, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. Hello and thanks for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's look at the call by the CBN Governor to those whose small businesses have been affected by COVID-19 and other interventions by the Apex Bank. What's your take?
Well, the central bank has earmarked about 50 billion naira for intervention in households and small and medium-scale enterprises who have been badly affected by COVID-19 pandemic. What they have done is to ask those whose business have been affected to apply to NISRA through their banks so that they can access this funding. But basic thing is that there are conditions stipulated which you have to show that your business has been really affected. I believe that a lot of businesses have been badly affected, particularly small and medium-scale enterprises. What is lacking is the capacity of the people affected to be able to articulate their businesses in a document that they can present to access this funding. So you may end up seeing people who have been affected, but they can't put their businesses in the documented format as to present to NISRA for accessing the 50 billion intervention fund. And that's my greatest concern, that people that the rung of the ladder may not have the technical competencies, to put together business proposals that will meet the requirement for accessing the funding.
So what do you think should be done here?
A couple of things we can do. One is this: we need to find ways to reach out to these businesses through the association they belong to, trade unions. they belong to. So through the trade unions, some of them also have informal banking services. So we may need to also approach the likes of the SUSU managers, the likes of the union cooperatives they belong to help them prepare documents that will meet this requirement, or to prepare group documents, put them into cooperative associations, and then use the cooperative to assess the funding on their behalf. And the cooperative will now administer this funding to them or disburse this funding to them, and then ensure that the cooperative serve as also the credit manager so that they don't default from this funding. Because once they belong to a group or association or cooperative, they are bound by the tenets of that cooperative to ensure that they meet their obligations to lenders or fund providers.
All right, before I let you go, the CBN governor met with the Bankers Committee and came up with some far-reaching decisions, including stopping banks that were planning to downsize. Let's have your view on this.
Well, that's at the level of moral suasion. The key thing that if the economy contracts and stays weak for a long period, the banks and other institutions will have no choice to downsize. Take, for instance, the banks are not going to open all their branches or may not have a compelling need to open all their branches. Also, consider the fact that a lot of service delivery are going to migrate to virtual platforms. So you don't need as many human interface as you needed prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. So if those shifts in human interaction take place and you don't have a compelling need to keep the necessary number of staff as you have, then it becomes impossible for corporate institutions to continue to maintain the same level of employment. So we need to realize that the societal interaction mechanisms have shifted. There's been a tectonic shift in the society, in global engagement, and we've seen a dominance or migration to virtual and electronic means of communication and interaction. So that will take away jobs from people, and irrespective of whatever the best wishes the central bank or any other person has for employment levels, it may become impossible to sustain the same level of employment. You're going to see shift in skills requirement. So people are going to be trained to move to acquire new skills as to remain relevant. Otherwise, you're going to see certainly some level of increase in unemployment.
I must thank you very much, Mr. Johnson Chukwu, for your time on the program.
My pleasure.
Mr. Johnson Chukwu is an economist and financial analyst all the way from Lagos. Now, next is Business and Financial Report with Harriet Parkinson.
Thank you, Abdul, and thank you for joining us. Here is the Week in Review. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, is developing a framework to provide financial support to researchers, science institutions, and biotechnology firms to develop a Nigerian COVID-19 vaccine. The Apex Bank Governor, Godwin Emefiele, who gave this information at the unveiling of the This Day Dome COVID-19 Testing, Tracing, and Treatment Center in Abuja, said the framework would involve grants and long-term facilities to the beneficiaries. Mr. Emefiele said apart from launching a 100 billion naira healthcare intervention fund, the CBN had also implemented several initiatives such as the provision of 1 trillion naira facility for firms operating in the agriculture and manufacturing sectors to cushion the effects of the pandemic on the Nigerian economy. Nigeria's foreign reserve has risen to $34.65 billion in the last 11 days. The latest reports by the CBN shows that the foreign reserves rose by $1.22 billion from $33.42 billion as at the 29th of last month to $34.65 billion as at the 11th of this month. The reserves had declined after hitting a high of $45.17 billion on June the 11th, 2019, losing $11 billion to $33.89 billion as of April the 28th, 2020. Another report says the Central Bank of Nigeria has assured foreign investors of security in repatriating their funds despite forex-related revenue shortages due to the global drop in the sale of crude oil. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele gave the assurance in a statement. He said adequate policies had been put in place to ensure an orderly exit of foreign investors wishing to do so. And straight to stock news, the bull's run sustained on the equities sector of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NSE, as more blue-chip stocks joined the league of gainers, causing the all-share index, ASI, to appreciate by 0.5% to close at 23,828.86 points. Precisely at the close of trading today, a total volume was traded in 149.85 million units of shares, valued at 2.30 billion naira, traded in 3,781 deals. Accordingly, market capitalization closed at 12.41 trillion naira. Nestle Nigeria PLC recorded the highest price gain of 4% to close at 1,014 naira per share. Dangote Cement followed with a gain of 0.7% to close at 144 naira 5 kobo per share, while Guarantee Trust Bank gained 2.56% to close at 22 naira per share. On the other hand, Custodian Investment PLC led the laggers by 9.52% to close at 5 naira 7 kobo per share. International Breweries PLC followed with 4% to close at 4 naira 8 kobo per share, while WAPCO Insurance fell by 1.82% to close at 10 naira 8 kobo per share. Transactions in the shares of Zenith Bank topped the activity chart with 24.18 million shares valued at 365.87 million naira. Guarantee Trust Bank followed with 62.75 million shares worth 1.25 billion naira, while FBN Holdings traded 18.84 million shares at 92.82 million naira. On the CBN exchange market, the US dollar exchanges for 361 naira. The pound sterling exchanges for 445 naira 22 kobo, while the euro goes for 391 naira 9 kobo. Inflation rate is 12.2%, while monetary policy rate remains 13.5%. And that's the weekly review. It's back to you, Abdul, for the rest of the program. My name is Harriet Parkinson.
Thank you very much, Harriet, for the news. Now, you too can be a part of this conversation. Send us a message via SMS or WhatsApp. The number is 0812-541-9549. That's 0812-541-9549. You can also tweet at us. The handle is at Gado Agency. Use hashtags Money and the Economy and hashtag CBN. We'll expect to hear from you. For more information, kindly visit www.cbn.gov.ng. Our quiz for this week is next. How much was set aside as credit facility and support for the healthcare industry? How much was set aside as credit facility and support for the healthcare industry? Send your answer to the WhatsApp number 0812-541-9549. The first correct answer wins our gift for the week. Thank you.
That would be 400,000 naira, sir.
400,000 naira only. And a chicken change now. Wait here. My countable. 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,250 naira.
Mr. Man, so you expect say we all go queue behind you make you count money? Why you not go cashless?
Madam, I beg, this cashless is something. Wait till it means seven now. Tell me.
It means say you not go to carry plenty money join body again. No, that one now upside. Like now, you suppose just use your ATM card for this POS where they here so. It's fast and it's safe too. Now people not go to lick finger they count money again. No.
Is that so?
Yes, sir.
Technology.
This message is brought to you by the Central Bank of Nigeria.
The winner of last week's quiz is Daniel Omodibo from Ibadan, Oyo State. Congratulations, Daniel. We'll contact you for your prize. And that's our show for today. We told you that in the midst of the economic and social woes COVID-19 has brought on the people, the Central Bank of Nigeria, under the leadership of Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has reiterated the commitment of the Apex Bank to ensure that the sufferings that come with the pandemic is drastically reduced to the barest. Now, if your small business is affected in any way by COVID-19, apply for the loan. It's at a single-digit interest rate, the best you can get anywhere. Take advantage of this for your own good. This is a program of Gado Agency Limited, sponsored by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Voices in our drama were those of Blessed Arulayo, Ndubisi Ikpaga, and Daniel Johnson. Godwin Odemije produced, assisted by John Chukuma and Ayo Babatunde. I'm Abdul Fattah Otori. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and please stay safe.